Something is destroying these homes from the inside out. New legions of aggressive breeds have come as stowaways on boats from Asia, and they can eat through the toughest wood, dead or alive. Panic grows as entire houses collapse. Experts are trying new techniques to outsmart them, but can anyone save us from the termites' attack? Xylophageous termites are very, very destructive. Although they live underground, their natural progression is upwards into ceilings. As soon as they've eaten the first story, they move on to the second.
Oh yeah, lots of damage up here, and you can see it going along the front side of this where a door used to sit.
I'm going to go look down here, see if I can find any termite trail.
Good luck, Ed.
Oh! Here's a picture here. You can see what termites can do. There.
Boy, that looks wet
Look.
and rotted
Right there.
and full of termites.
So,
Promotions,
why
of
these
course.
termites are being completely taken over this place. Look at that.
No room for anyone else to live here.
Greg Anderson is a consultant in termite control at the New Orleans City Board.
Termites will attack anyone's home, be they wealthy, poor, white or black, they don't care. In Louisiana, termites have become an obsession. One termite does no damage. Millions of termites, though, are attacking homes in Louisiana. It's the equivalent of a small dog eating constantly from one home to another.
The old timber frame houses in the French Quarter are their prime target. But now they have a new dish of the day, the wood joints of skyscrapers. They even attack the house of God.
Boy, look at the job they did on this cypress here.
They ate it up, didn't they?
Right, went right through it. You know, we just had a problem last week where we were checking the clock in the front. It fell down into the street.
Wooden clock?
Wooden clock.
Might want to change to plastic.
Well, we're going to have to do something, you know, because it does no good to pray, because the termites come to church every day.
You're right.
Today, new legions of very aggressive termites are on the attack. Mosin termites come as stowaways on boats from Asia, and they don't care if wood is dead or alive. They'll eat it anyway.
Well, about 4 in the morning, I woke up to a loud noise to find a tree in my car. There wasn't any wind. There was nothing like that. It was just, apparently just termite damage.
Termite activity is obvious in that part of the tree. Help to weaken it, certainly.
These accidents are more and more frequent, and Greg estimates that 1 tree in 4 is infested by termites. His job is to find new kinds of insecticide to kill off the tree chewers. Greg tries out his new products on trees in the bayous. Up until recently, these were protected from termite infestation and chemical warfare. Greg and Alan returned to the place where the tree destroyed the car to find out just how much of the tree the termites had infested before it was felled.
There's a lot of termite in this tree.
Yeah, just about as many as I've ever seen.
In New Orleans, over 200 trees hollowed out from the inside are felled every year. Greg pulls out the nest from the tree heart. There must have been over 1 million termites in the colony. termite damage costs each and every inhabitant of New Orleans $1,500 a year. In order to stem the damage, chemists are now deploying WMDs, weapons of mass destruction, to control their numbers. This war is fought with large-scale gassing operations. Householders have to flee the battlefield for 48 hours.
I'll be right up there, right there to help you to get it.
Okay, thank you.
In New Orleans, 500 homes are gassed each year, an extreme solution to counter the enemy hordes. It takes just 2 or 3 years to chew up a house. People no longer dare touch wood for luck in case it disintegrates.
Yeah, when I bought this house, I had all the necessary termite inspections, which they said there were absolutely no termites in the house, so I felt really good about it. But as you can see, when we started the renovation, as we tore the walls open, it was totally infested. The house was literally falling down, and I was forced to sell it as a tear down.
That's heavy infestation right there.
In Louisiana, insurers refuse to cover the termite risk, and it is impossible to sell a house without certificates proving it's termite-free. As a result, 10,000 infested homes are unsaleable.
I made an offer on this house just last week, but I'm having second thoughts. I walked out of my house yesterday morning, and what do I see? But across the street here, they're tenting this house for termites. And I hear it's pretty seriously infested, so I'm really having second thoughts. I mean, should I buy it or should I not? It's a tough decision.
One termite may just be the visible tip of the iceberg. This man is not a pop art freak, but a termite expert at the UN. He believes in using insecticide in surgical strikes. To do this, he is trying to work out the family ties between termite colonies by identifying them with colors which fluoresce under UV radiation. The mission's objective is to get the termites to poison each other. Usually, termites from different colonies do not get on well. In fact, they fight to the death to defend their territories. They tear open their enemies' stomachs with their mandibles and leave them to bleed to death. Brian noticed that most colonies in a district and even a city share grandmother queens. The termites recognize their distant cousins and cohabit without strife. His findings mean that by judiciously poisoning the members of a small colony, you decimate the termites in a city.
I think we have a well-established population of termites numbering in the tens of thousands. And what we want to do is find out how well related they are and how many groups of brothers and sisters we have. Ready? Let's go.
By introducing fluorescent termites coated with a new contact poison into the colony, Brian can make a body count for his surgical strike.
It's a small planet, and today conflict with termite societies is inevitable. But we can't go on poisoning the environment to control termites. It takes 100 to 300 gallons of poison to treat the average American home. In the future, we'll be able to use half a gallon of insecticide intelligently.
All that has to be done now is the research for new anti-termite weapons, and in this field, American scientists aren't lacking imagination. This canine detective brigade specializes in fighting termites.
Normally, when we do a termite inspection, only 15% of the house is visible. The remaining 85% of the house is hidden behind the walls, under the carpeting, and that's where the termites want to be. With the dog's nose, it's like having X-ray vision.
No cameras, please.
There will soon be 100 accredited professional termite fighting detective dogs in the United States.
Okay, we're going to place some termites around the house in these containers.
They're targets to keep the dog interested.
Now, are those real termites that you put in my sofa?
Yeah, those are real termites, and we should be able to keep them contained in those small containers, and we'll remove them before we leave. Come on, girl. Good girl, you ready to go to work? Search here. Search up. Are there T's? Huh? Are there T's? Are there T's? What? Are there T's there? Good girl. Search for T's. Search. Are there T's? Good girl. Huh? Are there T's? Good girl.
She keeps pointing to that inner wall there.
Are there T's? Daisy, forget the hand. Search here. Are there T's? Are there T's?
She keeps scratching there. There must be something there.
No, you have to scratch. Search. Are there T's? Search, Daisy. Are there T's there? Good girl.
Daisy is always particularly attentive to the expert report on which her Nosie's reputation is based. In France, experts have found a way to eavesdrop on termites.
Là, vous entendez quelque chose ou pas?
The sensitive equipment will pick up the sounds of termites munching on wood, and depending on the level of noise, they can determine the level of infestation. The termites are difficult to detect in time as they feed intelligently, carefully leaving a thin layer of wood to hide the havoc they wreak. But today, the echo of the workers' mandibles betray them. Soldier termites are the noisiest. They send out a strange war cry by knocking their heads when they feel threatened, a strange convulsive dance. Marching up from the south of Europe, the termites have occupied Paris, one of the northernmost reaches of their conquest, for termites hate the cold. To stop the plague, the French have passed a law making termites illegal. Fortunately, European termites are much less destructive than New Orleans wood piranhas. By analyzing the noises recorded into bytes per second, they can determine roughly the number of termites. From this, they decide on the dose of treatment needed.
L'infestation est encore relativement importante sur le chantier. Je sais pas, qu'est-ce que t'en penses?
Faut continuer le traitement.
The hidden invaders are betrayed by their greedy appetites. Only a few resistant termites will survive the treatment. This class of children in Benin, in Africa, are being taught about their environment.
Ça veut dire que c'est un insecte. Ça veut dire que c'est un insecte qui cause des dégâts.
They are being taught the harmful effects of termites on buildings and field crops.
Il nous faut du mal, non? Un termite, insecte nuisible.
African school children's textbooks still give the Western viewpoint. But this is just not true for Africa.
Nuisible.
Termites are actually extremely useful to Kirikou and his father. Initiation day has finally arrived, and tonight Kirikou will have to hunt without help from the adults. At the beginning of the rainy season, the future termite kings and queens fly off in swarms to build other colonies. Only a few of these thousands of winged termites will survive to propagate a new colony. In the Ivory Coast, the Kru people use the winged termites' natural attraction to light to trap them. They are a much sought-after delicacy and nutritionally rich because they are carrying large reserves of energy to last in the weeks and even months it takes to start a new colony. If the rainstorms do not come, the impatient termite hunters call in the Rainmaker. termite mounds are blessed and wetted in a strange ritual to call up the rain. In the Central African Republic, the manjas don't wait for the rain. They hunt termites all the time. The hunters beat drums and sing the traditional songs to attract them. As a pre-dinner snack, the men eat handfuls of soldier termites. But the ritual really only starts when they catch a queen. Women eat the queens to promote their fertility or prolong their youth. Men are forbidden to eat queen termites. Everyone knows they reduce the libido. Queens are enormous worms bursting with eggs. On average, they lay an egg a second, producing 30 million a year. Once laid, the worker termites carry the eggs to the nursery rooms. Thousands of admirers, 1,000 times lighter than the queen, caress and lick her 24 hours a day. If the queen were a human being, she would weigh over 10 tons. A king termite spends most of his time snuggled up to his queen. Never leaving the royal apartment, the sovereign talks to his courtiers with chemical odor signals called pheromones. This language effectively regulates births to ensure the right number of workers, soldiers, and reproducers are born to guarantee survival. "80% of the eggs will become worker termites, programmed to operate tirelessly like robots. Their success is in little doubt. The termite civilization is believed to have existed for over 100 million years. These men are not making termite stew in a pressure cooker. Bernard Ndunazi has asked them to collect large soldier termites to make a stranger brew. Bernard is trying to convince this man that this potion of crushed termites will cure his daughter's ulcer. The father remains skeptical. As in most pygmy villages, modern medicines are non-existent. As an alternative, crushed macrothermy soldier termites are directly applied to the wound. For Ndunazi, termites are a family business.
Tout ce que j'ai appris, je l'ai appris de mon père.
Bernard tells us he learned his recipe from his father. Their tribe, the Sumas, have cured ulcers with termites for many generations. It only stopped when the missionaries arrived and tried to end their initiation rites.
Les cultes d'initiation, que cette technique s'est arrêtée. Actuellement, j'ai
Now he has started using this technique again, and he is trying to spread the word so people who don't have access to antibiotics can care for themselves using this recipe instead.
Pour se payer des antibiotiques, puissent utiliser cette technique pour se soigner.
Bernard Ndunazi is traveling all over the Central African Republic to train people in his methods. But his work is never done. It is probably the secretions from glands and the chitin in the soldier termites' armored heads that gives these cures their potency. Chitin has remarkable bactericidal properties and is also non-toxic and biodegradable. Soldier termites have horn shields with an oversized pair of clipper shears. This armament is so heavy and cumbersome that they have to be beak-fed by worker termites. The sharp cutting weapons can be lethal, but some termites prefer chemical warfare. In fact, they have developed guns and fire a sticky liquid which paralyzes the enemy through this tube. The properties of this liquid could also find applications in medicine. Bernard Indonazi is proud of his success stories. In particular, a Japanese couple treated for persistent ulcers, and Papa Thomas's termite miracle. Bernard says that Papa Thomas had an ulcer for over a year, but at the hospital they could do nothing more for him because it was infested with maggots. They could not clean the ulcer, and they sent him home to die. That's when Bernard treated him with the termite formula. Central African Republic television covered the event. Everyone wanted to see how Thomas would be miraculously cured with termites. After being close to death, Papa Thomas made a complete recovery. After just 28 days of cleaning and applying the termite potion, the ulcer healed, and Papa Thomas could enjoy a normal life again. Following Bernard's success with his termite treatment, he has been invited to the presidential palace to give a conference on these cures. The ambassadors and the UN and the WHO delegates were convened for the presentation.
J'ai rencontré à Bakouma les Andés qui, eux,
Papa Thomas owes his life to the termites, and the proof is convincing. Bernard hopes to use this clinical success to market termite pie and other recipes on a large scale.
Félicitations. C'est très bien.
This woman, who looks more like a termite mound, suffers from painful joints. In the Ivory Coast, traditional healers know that the earth from termite mounds make an excellent orthopedic poultice and also cures mumps and chickenpox. Some even use it to help with diagnosis. They tell a patient to urinate on the mound. If the termites rush up to drink the urine, the patient has got diabetes. In the Central African Republic, termites are the oracles the Nsakara consult the most. Termites prophesy by ignoring or devouring a stick left on the termite mound for a day. In Benin, huge numbers of termite mounds are believed to be the homes of gods. The sacred termite mound of Savulo is one of the most honored. It is a place to sacrifice hens, sheep and goats, usually to ensure a good harvest. A paradox when you know it's the termites that spoil the crops. In Africa, termites are worth their weight in gold. Canadian geologist Marc-André Bernier is a gold prospector. He samples termite mounds to detect gold, just like African civilizations did in ancient times. Marc-André is convinced he's found a huge vein. Although they dug a trench to sample this site less than 24 hours ago, the termites have managed to completely plug the hole. To build their mounds, termite prospectors dig down over 20 meters into the ground and bring the mineral ores and noble metals to the surface. In their mandibles, they carry all kinds of building materials, including gold dust varying from 30 microns to nearly 3 millimeters in size. For Marc-André, the termites are a well-trained drilling machines which dig up his first core samples free of charge. Marc-André decided to engage an army of termites to replace his drilling teams. Although few of his colleagues took him seriously, he has managed to reduce prospecting time from 2 years to under 4 months, thanks to the work of the termites. 86% of the 5,700 termite mounds sampled contain gold. This seems to prove that there is a huge strike here. Now Marc-André has called in the deep drilling machines to see if the termites were right. The winged termites have just swarmed. For the African geologists, this is a good omen sent from the gods. But Marc-André prefers the proof he gets by counting the number of gold dust particles he digs from the mound tops.
Tout droit. Je fais attention à l'arbre ici un peu à droite. Encore une touche.
The machine is core drilling near the termite mounds, 80 meters under the ground. The drill samples are identified and washed with large amounts of water to count the particles of gold. The in-depth surveys seem to confirm the work of the termites.
Très joli, Noël. Très joli, papa. Très joli, facilement plus que 200 particules d'or dans cette...
Marc-André can see there are more than 200 gold particles in this one sample.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
As the drilling machines continue their confirmation surveys, Marc-André is already prospecting a new zone. Like a good public relations man, he has asked the village chief to join him for the event. This chief is flattered that a Canadian multinational is doing the job in the same way his great-grandfather did. After sampling almost 6,000 termite mounds, Marc-André is confident that it's worth drilling in at least one of the sites. Only one gold find in 1,000 is worth mining. Marc-André goes back to Toronto to convince the investors.
Messieurs les directeurs,
The investors seem impressed by the termites' initial prospecting, and the project looks very promising for Marc-André.
kilomètres de longueur. Tout me porte à croire que
This is not the first time Macrothermes termites have scored. They won their gold mandibles in Niger and Zimbabwe, where one of the mines is codenamed Termite. Others have even won diamond mandibles in the precious stone fields in Botswana. Under an electron microscope, the gold samples look fine and smooth, which tells Marc-André that the sampling zones are probably not far from the seam. This technique uses the termite's ability to carry minerals to the surface from depths of up to 100 meters. Marc-André's termites carried the Toronto Stock Exchange up too. Not all people and not all termites share the same values. In Australia, some are musicians. For Yaka and many Aboriginals, this eucalyptus branch hollowed out by the termites is the spiritual symbol of their culture. The Yidaki, or didgeridoo, has given their music its bass notes for over 1,000 years. But termites have been around for over 100 million. Yaka remembers the ceremonies of his childhood. His family played the didgeridoo to release the warrior spirit, the protector of their community. Ceremonies were opportunities to retell the old stories. These traditional methods changed with the arrival of the Europeans. Now, machines have replaced the worker, or rather craftsman, termites. But Yaka maintains the traditions of the oldest musical instrument in the world. Other termites prefer to be architects. Macrothermes termites build cathedrals, and humnivores build temples. For the Aboriginals and the African tribes alike, the mystery of these architects of nature is believed to be a gift from the gods. Strangely, termites which destroy everything they encounter religiously avoid some varieties of shrubs. Others seem to worship the tree trunks in which they live. Some termites build mounds which seem to defy the laws of gravity and logic. In the steppes of Australia, magnetic termites never lose their bearings. Their homes are just a few centimeters wide from north to south, but several meters long from west to east. The burning midday sun only strikes a very small surface of the mound, while the morning and evening rays warm both sides. To get the temperature they prefer and make the most of their air conditioning, the termites live on the east side in the morning and the west side in the evening. Termite air conditioning equipment inspires today's architects. Termites may not have electricity, but they do have ideas. Their buildings have all mod cons and even central heating. The way it works is simple. Termite cathedral chimneys can be nearly 8 meters high. Made of earth, the chimney heats up during the day. As hot air rises, the chimney draws the cooler air out of the mound. At night, the termite's home is warmed by the heat stored in the ground during the day. Always focused on energy saving, British architects have taken on termite engineers. For example, the model for the Nottingham Inland Revenue Centre was a termite mound. A gigantic glass chimney controls fresh air distribution to the offices. At the University of Leicester, enormous 13-metre-high chimneys pull down fresh air which emerges directly from grids under the students' seats. Engineer-architect Sandy Halliday has just found a new job for termites as trench diggers.
I've been really interested for some time in the prospect of studying animal architecture, but I couldn't see why anybody would give us research funding to study what's essentially
Termite droppings make excellent cement. They contain non-degraded sugars which act like superglue. To be able to avoid oncoming traffic in corridors made strictly to their size, the termite concrete mixers make lay-bys like on mountain roads. In front of each building site, a soldier on duty protects the concrete layers. After identifying the exact place with their antennae, the worker termites bring in the grains of sand and quickly turn round to lay the cement in the gap.
in the future we might find ourselves able to produce something like the kind of environmentally friendly cements which termites themselves presently produce from their own abdomens. And that would be an enormous step forward into a more environmentally friendly construction industry.
For Sandy, man has never invented anything, not cement and certainly not skyscrapers. A 3-meter-high termite mound would, on our scale, be a building towering 3 kilometers into the air. African civilizations have copied termite mound architecture for a long time, in particular in the mosques of Burkina Faso and Mali.
Yes, I'm here to present the project we've been doing on animal architecture. I'm expected. Amanda's expecting me.
That's fine, thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Sandy is using a model to demonstrate her intriguing project, based on animal intelligence, to the Edinburgh Zoo directors.
The building that we've been looking at is based on the principles of animal architecture, in particular the termite mound, which forms this central core here. More research to go into that to figure out what we can really learn in terms of how to bond it. And this here will be the cafe and restaurant looking at this fabulous view.
In Africa, farmers use termites as waste recyclers and ploughmen. This farmer in Burkina Faso is one of the few still using termites to irrigate the soil. Alain is keen to study his methods. He says that this method was passed down through his grandparents. He used to say that men till the topsoil and the termites till the subsoil. Man and termite complement each other. When the topsoil dries out, but there is water 5 meters below, the termites bring up a little moisture.
Quand ça deviendra sec, et si l'eau se trouve au-delà de 100 mètres, les termites descendront pour remonter un peu d'humidité.
The technique developed by the Zai people uses the gluttony of the litter termites. They are attracted by laying straw on the ground. Even if the ground is as hard as concrete, they will still tunnel up from their nest to get at it, leaving small galleries. When the rains finally come, the water trickles down the holes to irrigate the earth. For peasants without straw, zebu dung is an excellent alternative. For French entomologist Alain, termites are the ecosystem engineers. They have developed strategies so they really can eat anything and everything.
Elles sont vraiment belles, ces meules.
Ouais, il y a au moins 45 kilos là.
There's about 45 kilograms of food within the mounds. That is enough for 1 million termites. Made from termite dung, these mounds are in fact the termites' mold farms. They tend these mounds very carefully, and some termites eat their pre-meal snacks here. Termites that eat mushrooms lack intestinal flora to dissolve their food. These molds break down and digest food for them. It seems likely that millions of years ago, the earth abounded with foods the termites could eat and digest without outside help. Did a long period of famine force them to start eating less digestible food? Perhaps they were saved from extinction by adding molds to their diet. The 2,500 termite species invaded the world by eating a very wide range of foodstuffs, ranging from wood to earth and humus. No other animal has adapted so successfully. Everywhere there are branches, roots, brambles, grass or earth, termites find inexhaustible food supplies. That's how they solve the main problem in life, getting the next meal. These termites do not need any extra help with digestion. Their digestive tracts account for 70% of their body weight, and they are totally alien. Alain is studying these termites' unusual digestive strategy. The tracks are factories designed to produce chemicals able to dissolve and digest every kind of food. This is what Alain finds so fascinating. The matter swallowed by the termites breaks up under the action of the intestinal bacteria. The large molecules are transformed into easily degradable micromolecules. From their digestive tracts, Alain has succeeded in isolating bacteria with very futuristic applications. Alain says the termites were the first to use bacteria to digest food that other animals find inedible. Perhaps humans could learn from them and use these bacteria to decompose human waste or clean up oil slicks. The termites are very resourceful. In Japan, they resisted the greatest tragedy of the last century, Hiroshima. This man has not come to pray for the victims of Hiroshima. Kaido Sun has been a termite exterminator for 30 years. He holds an annual ceremony to obtain their pardon and ensure the termites rest in peace. This ceremony is also an opportunity to pray for all those scientists who dedicated their lives to termites. Their names are inscribed on these funerary plates, symbolically stored in a stone-built house.